Good morning, y'all. This is Mario ARROTAVE with Utmost Performance. Just getting back straight away from day 2. I had some power testing. I did some power tests yesterday, tested the 1 minute and my max sprint. Today, what I had on tap was a 5 minute and a 20-minute test. And I had something happen to me today that I want to share with you guys because maybe some of you guys can resonate with this experience. So, got kitted up, got ready to go, did all the right things, just been making sure I've been taking care of myself before these tests this week, and got on the bike, felt really, really good, was ready to go. Obviously, there were some metrics that, my coach determined would be good numbers for me to hit. We were looking to hit, ultimate power numbers, all-time bests, and I went in with the mindset and with the belief and with the expectation that I was going to hit those numbers. And so everything was tracking that way, went through the warm-up, everything felt okay. And first on tap was my 5 minute test. So 5 minute test, let it rip, got out there, gave it a good go. And at the end of that test, at the end of that 5 minute test, I just I don't know if you guys have ever had that feeling where I just felt like there was like all this just blood just like pooled in my legs. My legs were super achy. They were heavy. They just felt really, really tired, really gassed. And I still had a 20-minute test left to go. I had 15 minutes in between my 5 minute test and my 20-minute test. And I thought to myself, well, the 5 minute test, it took a lot out of you, but you've got a 20-minute test coming up. I'm not sure why your legs feel that way, but that's just the way they're going to feel probably. And just for the record, the 5 minute test was an all-time best for me. So, I had gone somewhere that I had never been before. So 15 minutes, just kind of pedaling easy to get to my next destination to rip on my 20 minute. And then the time comes, get into my 20 minute effort. Things are going okay. And then things begin to deteriorate slowly but surely. Things just kind of falling apart. And at some point, I realized that the expectation that I had for the number that I felt that I was going to hit on my 20-minute test, the ship was sailing. It was not going to happen on this particular day. And so as I'm riding, continuing to give my best effort, just continuing to just say no to wanting to stop, pulling the plug on the test because it's a bad day and so on and so forth, I had to readjust and, talk to myself and say, okay, you're probably not going to hit a 20-minute best at this point. You're looking at your Garmin and the numbers aren't anywhere near what they need to be. But what can you do now? What do you have control over? And my thought went to my effort. I can continue to fight. I can continue I'm really uncomfortable right now. This is hurting really, really bad. I feel like with this level of discomfort and pain that I'm going through, I feel like the numbers should be better, but they're not for whatever reason. But I'm going to continue to soldier on. I'm going to continue to give my absolute best effort. And I just had to keep telling myself that because I knew that at the end of that 20-minute effort, I would be very satisfied. Not necessarily with the metric, with the number that came out of that particular effort, but I would be satisfied with my effort that I gave, my personal effort, just giving my absolute best. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. So the wah, 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 it wasn't a personal best for you, so you're leaning on the effort thing. I did, and that was all that I could do, and that was the best that I could do. Now, interesting story and a little PSA, little bike maintenance tip to wrap up this video. It was interesting and it was funny that yesterday I kind of sent a message to the folks that I coach and I said, hey guys, just make sure if you've got a carbon seat post, make sure every once in a while you pull that seat post out, apply some new friction paste in there, put that seat post back in the bike. You just don't want that thing to seize on you. Trust me, I've been there. And then when you're packing your bike to go on a trip to a race or something like that, you can't get that seat post out of there and therefore you can't pack your bike up. So I let my athletes know that yesterday because I had done that literally 2 days ago. Well, I figured out why on that 5 minute test. My legs felt like that rush of blood and just felt really, really. Continue with my story. I figured out why on that 5-minute test, I just had that nasty feeling in my legs, and it was like, it just didn't feel natural to me. But I rolled with it. And the reason was because when I finished my 20-minute test, I looked down and I was what I like to call sitting in the bucket, where I'm slouched down on the bike and obviously my seat post had slid down. And so I was overusing some muscles that don't like to be overused because they don't get trained all that much to do that kind of work and heavy lifting. And so therefore I felt that sensation on my 5-minute test. And then I just, out of sight, out of mind, I didn't really think about it much. Then I got going on the 20-minute test. And as that 20-minute test began to go downhill, so was my seat post. It continued to slide down to the point where, I was having tremendous difficulty pedaling the bicycle. But anyhow, that kind of stuff happens. So you just got to kind of roll with it. And again, as I said, there will be those days where we're just going to have to recalibrate. We're just going to have to wrap our minds around a new expectation. The expectation that I always tell us that we should have is to give our absolute best, regardless of what our Garmin is telling us, regardless of what our bodies are telling us. Always give your best, because at the end of that, you can always be satisfied, regardless of what the metric or the outcome is. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. If you've had an experience lately like this and you overcame it or you let it get the best of you, I would love to hear from you. So let me know.